All right, guys, let me just double check here and make sure I have the sound fully working so I don't have to delete all of your good artwork like I did last week. So this week is Simon and Jason back as usual. No Dean, although he did have an offer to come on. Maybe he'll pop in later. Let's see. We're going to talk about, on this very, very hot day here in Southern California, we're going to talk about the Mara Santa Cruz fight from yesterday, the Hugo Ruiz fight, and his loss to Julio Ceja, Mosley Mayorga. We'll touch on that one a little bit and preview next week and all the news from this week. But let's start. I'm sure you can't wait, Jason. I don't know a bigger Leo Santa Cruz fan than you, and I'm sure you're very proud of the fact that his first legit test at featherweight was successful.
Well, you couldn't have rubbed it in a little more. Hey, he really stepped up to the occasion in every way. He presented a little bit different of a fighter than we've seen out of him. He presented a fighter that could definitely deal with somebody that was at Mars's level. There was a couple things in there that Santa Cruz did that I just didn't quite expect him to be able to be as good at. He was getting in and out quick when he needed to, depending on how Mares was fighting. Like if Mares was trying to box him, Leo was just going in and out quick on him and, getting out of the way and keeping good angles. But then when Leo was trying to brawl him, he was just going to out-brawl him there too. Mares was trying to do little things like pivot on the inside and, to try to get an angle on him. And the next thing you know, Santa Cruz would either tie him up or he'd pivot the opposite direction and be totally out of the way. So, Mares showed just some really good defensive strategy, in my opinion.
You mean Santa Cruz?
It's Santa Cruz, yeah.
And he was blocking really well on the inside, too. A lot of the times when Mares was getting it, yeah, he was blocking those shots. At first, in the first couple of rounds, I was fooled by them. But as I started to watch closely, I saw, those are hitting like arms. They're not scoring.
They were a lot of elbow, a lot of arm. He would if anything, I took away that Leo Santa Cruz actually has some defense. Granted, it was one of those fights where a lot of punches were thrown, a lot of punches landed, that kind of thing. But he presented a fighter that was a little bit more, a lot more dynamic than I ever gave him credit for. So, mad props to Leo Santa Cruz.
Simon, is that the best Leo Santa Cruz we're ever going to get that we saw last night?
Well, he seemed very comfortable at the weight. I think it'd probably be interesting against Walters moving forward. And after last night's performance, I've got the confidence that he'd be competitive and could even win that one now. Whereas before I would have said that he'd have lost that fight. I think now he's got a shot of winning it.
Mars beating Walters.
No, this is Leo Santa Cruz.
Oh, Leo Santa Cruz. Okay. So you think that Leo Santa Cruz has a shot at beating Nicholas Walters?
Yeah.
And is Walters the guy that we recognize as he's the best featherweight out there?
Well, this is it. I mean, obviously, he has this huge reputation that he gained from dismantling Nonito Donaire, the legendary Nonito Donaire. But as I've spoken about before, Donaire's the kind of poor man's Pacquiao. And as a result, Nicholas Walters has this increased sort of public persona in terms of how good he's perceived to be. He's this, beastly power puncher. But in his more recent outings, he's looked very human. And so I think that with what I've seen from Leo last night, he can probably fight the smart fight to exploit some of Nicholas Walters' pedestrian elements. So, if he gets tagged, it could all be over. But, potentially he's able to outwork him and, just keep him at bay the whole night. So, yeah, I think that is an interesting matchup and that Cruz could legitimately challenge for it. One of the issues is Cruz is kind of widely disliked because of the really poor matchups he's benefited from over the past probably 18 months. And that's true, but just because you've been put against soft touch fighters doesn't mean that you don't have any skills. And he showed that last night, that when push comes to shove at a new weight against somebody credible, he's still got all of the raw skills needed to put on a good performance.
Yeah, with my opinion of Santa Cruz going into this fight was that all of those easy fights that he'd been given were bound to have stunted his growth as a fighter, because we saw the potential in him a long time ago. And I thought easy fight after easy fight. He's not growing. He's not being tested in any way. And like most people thought this was his very first test against Mares. And he passed his test with flying colors. I mean, we haven't seen a better looking Leo Santa Cruz. And I wonder if he's going to be one of those fighters where when he's pushed, he will rise to the occasion each time. And I think he's now got the style that's going to make it difficult for a lot of guys. I think him versus Lee Selby, that's a tough fight for both guys. Like, do I think Selby can outbox him? Maybe. No. But do I also think that Santa Cruz can overwhelm him? Maybe too. I mean, you're going to defend Santa Cruz here. I know you are, so go ahead.
Well, obviously. No, I mean, I bet on him winning on a decision last night, and there were moments when I got worried that he was going to only pull out the stoppage. You know, he was building good momentum, and I just think he's going to be a force to be reckoned with, especially against the likes of Selby, who's not on my good list.
Right, and then Jason, why don't you defend Selby, because I want to hear some sense here.
No, I don't know. I think that's a really tough fight to call. But I think I don't know that he really impressed me last night. Leo Santa Cruz really impressed me last night.
This is a lot because you have privately told me many times a lot of bad things about Leo Santa Cruz.
But the other thing is that Abner Mares was at such a disadvantage with his reach and then fought a very poor game plan given his physical disadvantages that really helped Leo Santa Cruz too. You know what I mean? Like there were rounds where he made it very easy, for Leo Santa Cruz to get to victory. Would Selby do the same thing? I don't think so, but I don't know that, I guess the stamina is there for Selby. Like, Leo Santa Cruz looked like he had phenomenal stamina. He just had so much good going, but I think it's a fight they both end on their feet, I'm not, but that's not saying much with their knockout ratios.
Right. Neither is a big puncher.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
this is a fight.
Selby over him? I don't know.
No, you're not going to pick Selby. Fine.
No.
I there's one part of me that wants to say, yeah, Selby will beat Santa Cruz, but Santa Cruz's jab was terrific yesterday. Every time he started using it, Mares had to go to plan B or C. I actually don't know what plan A was for Mares. When I was watching, when I saw him come out the way he did, I figured this is his best shot here because he was being effective in those first 2 rounds, just really taking it to Santa Cruz and not giving Santa Cruz time to even think. And Santa Cruz wasn't working very effectively when Mares was right there throwing punches. And then his corner told him to go to the outside and try to outbox him, and that's when it all fell apart. You guys agree with me that was Mares' undoing? Now, ultimately, I think he would have lost either way, but he really took away a chance at him actually making that a close fight.
Yeah, I mean, I'd say it's a pretty fair assessment. It basically just took his disadvantages and exploited them even more. It took his physical disadvantages and exploited them. I want to see Leo Santa Cruz in with like a Gary Russell Jr. Now that'd be a fun fight.
Well, Gary Russell has some of the shortest arms at featherweight.
Yeah, but
might be trouble for him.
Yeah, I know, but I think he's a lot more skilled than Abner Mares.
Maybe. I was going to bring in Lomachenko, but do I really want to compare Lomachenko to Santa Cruz or even just have them in the same conversation?
That's what I'm saying.
But wouldn't that be a good fight, though? Santa Cruz and Lomachenko, now that we're talking about it. You not interested?
No,
okay.
Like I said, I think Gary Russell would be a good fight.
I think they'll probably end up matching him with like a Johnny Gonzalez figure, and then someone obscure, and then probably Lee Selby. I can't see them taking Lomachenko.
The word out there, and Lomachenko's not happening because he's the top rank, but the word out there already is that it's Jesus Cuellar who's probably going to be next, and he's one of the WBA titleists at the division.
Yeah, I was going to say, he's rated pretty highly.
Yeah, he's a top 10
higher
fighter.
than I'd have
He's
expected.
good,
you think that they would have taken a soft one after that last night? Fair play to them if they do.
Yeah,
Do you think
absolutely.
Santa Cruz, like, if stripping away all the promotional stuff, do you think Santa Cruz really needs to take a soft touch now? Or do you think he's ready to consistently fight top 10?
No, now's his time. He's peaking. Like
Yeah.
he needs to continue his peak. Or can you say you were worried about before, him not progressing? I think he hit his peak in this Mares fight, but I'm not saying that maybe peak isn't the wrong word, but he's on his upswing. Like keep him fighting harder fights because if you start going back down with his level of competition, you're not only going to mess with his career trajectory, you're going to mess with the fans, and it's going to be really bad. So I think the best thing you could do with him is just keep him in there with a higher level opposition. I think after what we saw last night against Mars, you have to do that.
Yeah, I think that would be best for the fighter and for the fans. But I think that's exactly what won't happen. He's already the WBA super now. I think he's going to coast it for a couple.
He could. He
One
does
thing,
fight pretty often, doesn't he? I
fairly
feel like
often. One thing
yeah.
we know though from just the arena yesterday, and you can hear it on TV, is that Santa Cruz, whether we want to admit it or not, is a star. And if he wasn't after that fight, I don't know what would make him. But the Staples Center was packed.
Yeah, that's what I was trying to find out. Who'd they come for, Santa Cruz or Mares? But man, the place was popping.
And I mean, let's say they sold 14,000 tickets. Let's say it was split down the middle. That's that's a sellout for StubHub, I think.
Yeah.
And I was trying to get tickets for the fight beforehand, and I couldn't find any that weren't overpriced online. And there weren't that many to begin with when I was looking. Apparently, they were easy to come by outside the evening or outside of the arena yesterday, but I don't really like to hope that I can get lucky buying some tickets off a scalper. But anyway, the Hugo Ruiz versus Julio Ceja fight, that was a really good fight. We saw Ceja get dropped in this, I think it was the second round, and then he came back later on to score a knockout of his own. They're fighting for the interim belt, vacant belt, I don't know, that Leo Santa Cruz is leaving behind at super bantamweight. Do you think either of these guys can actually compete at the division?
No, it's a really stacked division. That's why Santa Cruz left. I think they both probably met their match in each other in that fight. Because that's about the highest level of opposition that there'll be. I mean, can you imagine what Frampton would do with those guys? Or has done with those guys?
Well, is this before or after he gets dropped in the first round?
Yeah.
I mean, obviously just teasing there. But yeah, both guys have lost before, and they've lost to guys who, losing to Jamie McDonnell, fine. McDonnell's a title holder, and he has beaten another world champion. But at the same time, you just kind of got the sense that those guys didn't have it to compete at the world level.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're not hanging at the highest stage of the game. It made for a fun fight, though. That's for damn sure.
Right, and I do want to see both of them back. I don't care who it's against.
Definitely.
Yeah.
I'd watch a rematch of that matchup,
That's
because
what
that
I'm
could have
saying.
gone either way.
Put them in together. Yeah, absolutely. That's a perfect rematch fight.
Let's talk
They've
about...
both been really, vulnerable in certain areas. And Ceja was kind of like just trying to land the same shot all night, and fair play, eventually it did land. But, I think they could adjust to that.
Let's talk about another rematch in Shane Mosley versus Ricardo Mayorga. Now, the best thing to come of this fight was probably that Simon won a bunch of money.
No way. Why?
Tell us about that, Simon.
I bet on a few obvious things like Santa Cruz winning on points, etc. But the kicker was I bet on Mosley to win by stoppage between rounds 4 and 6.
Oh, beautiful.
So at 2 minutes 59 into round 6, I probably woke up everyone who lives remotely near me. Because I'd written it off. When the little 10-second timer disappears from the screen and they're both not doing much, you think, okay, this is done, this is screwed. And then just seemingly out of nowhere, that liver shot finds him, took a knee, and it's like, no way, this is actually happening. And then rather than, because the bell had gone before he took the knee, so I'm like, oh no, I'm going to get screwed here. But the ref starts counting, God bless him. I could have kissed that man. Like, it was amazing. An official tries to signal to him, and he's like, no, I'm counting. So it was just perfect.
How much did you win?
25 quid, about 20 to 1, so just over 500 quid.
Wow.
That's about, what, 750 in bucks?
Wow, that'd pay for about a week's worth of Mayorga cigarettes habit.
Yeah. So yeah, no,
Uh,
that was good. It was one of those tense moments because obviously I'd gone from disappointment to massive joy all of a sudden.
Mosley looked good, but that wasn't hard to do against Mayorga. But apparently, I don't know if you want to believe this because it came from Mosley's Twitter, but Mosley knocked out 4 of Mayorga's teeth and broke his mouth guard in half.
That's not.
No, that's not a joke.
Well, here's the thing. That's completely believable. Think of Mayorga's teeth at this stage in the game. What the hell those things have been through, in and outside of the ring.
Yeah.
All right. So
But I hope we never see them again.
that's
You wouldn't want to see Mosley versus Golovkin?
you don't want to.
No, God, he was getting caught by slow as hell Mayorga. Like he controlled the fight, but he ate some silly shots. And if you can't see them coming from Mayorga, you're just gonna get eaten by any active, decent champion.
What about...
Mosley Provodnikov?
No, Mosley can't make 147. There's no way he makes 147. What about Mosley apparently was calling out
Chris
Juan Manuel
Algieri.
Marquez and Chris Algieri.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying.
Both of them beat him.
You think Chris Algieri beats him?
I do, yeah.
Oh, gosh.
I don't mind watching that one though, because he's going to be intact after the fight. I don't think he's going to take a savage beating, but he's just going to get old man schooled all night. I think he'll look his age against someone like Chris.
So there's no fight that you want to see Mosley in anymore? No? Harsh. Okay.
I don't think it's very harsh.
You're no fun.
It's not harsh at all.
He's like 45, and with the
Yes.
exclusion of Bernard Hopkins, who is literally an alien, fighting at that age with that style just doesn't work. It's not something you do. And if you're looking at the footage and you're seeing Mayorga's tagging you with hooks, fairly regularly, it wasn't a one-off chance shot. He was eating a fair amount of shots. Any person who is younger and in good condition will, just ruin you.
Fair enough. I mean, I don't know what you have against him.
It's not personal. It's compassion, if anything.
Look, the way Mosley's going at this on Twitter, if he hears about this, Simon, he will show up to your door.
I welcome it. I'll give him a beer. Like he's a good bloke, but he shouldn't be trying to fight with current active, names.
But Marquez isn't active, so don't you think that would be a good fight?
I think Marquez is still too in his zone still. I mean, he's over the hill, I think, but is closer to it than Mosley looked.
Do you guys think
If he wants to do the Jones Jr. approach and fight people that are ranked 150 in Ukraine or Russia, then
Or
fair play.
Latvia.
But if he's trying to fight people that are sort of top 30 in any division, then no.
what if that top 30 fighter was Gennady Golovkin?
Or
Why would you want to
Ward.
see that? You'd be a sadist.
Maybe.
Yeah, nobody would.
Look, if you want to be a middleweight, fine. Let's be a middleweight. Make him fight Golovkin. That should be the required new entry into middleweight.
Oh yeah, tell that to
Get
Canelo
savaged
Cotto.
by
Yeah.
an exceptional standout champion.
Wait a second. Why'd you bring up Canelo? He's not a middleweight yet, and he's not fighting at middleweight.
He's fought his last 3 fights at middleweight.
Middleweight is
fought his last 2
160.
fights. The divisional limit starts at above 154, buddy.
Well, let's call it down the middle of 157. If you're above that, then fine. We'll call you a middleweight. But if you're 155 or 56, okay, fine. You probably could still make junior middleweight.
Well, why don't we just call it like it is and look at the history books and say that he's fought at middleweight?
Look, because the
Because
history
that's
books
what-
also
yeah.
say that Bradley beat Manny Pacquiao in their first fight. Yes, I just did go there. Let's preview
yeah,
next week.
Bottom line is he fought his last fights at middleweight, so.
So Lonnie Tete is going to return this week, and this is the current IBF super flyweight
so
champion.
What I'm talking about, what we're looking at here, weight is factual, not judge's interpretation of something, right? So you can't really compare the two.
I mean, if we look at Cotto and Canelo and Chavez Jr. and Mosley and Mayorga, their weights, it's open to interpretation.
Okay. In your book.
No, in theirs. I don't have a book here.
They have a shared book?
There's some sort of agreement going on between these guys in that they don't have to fight at any weight. They don't want to. Zolani Teddy, IBF Super Flyweight Champion, returns this week, as well as Jürgen Bremer. Simon, you want to tell us anything about Jürgen Bremer?
No.
He's the current WBA World Light. Okay, fine. Josh Warrington's going to fight Saturday against Joel Brunker. Warrington is this, what is he now? He's probably like 20-0. Featherweight prospect out of Britain. Now, what is so special about Josh Warrington? Josh Warrington is special because he's got like 2 knockouts. Okay, it's 4 knockouts, but the guy has no power. Until very recently, a couple of years ago, it started where he started knocking guys out. He scored 3 knockouts in his last 5 fights. Before that,
he even seemed a bit surprised by that, though.
Right. His first fight, when he scored the knockout, like the crowd went wild because they
In his
could not
post-fight
believe
interview, he said
what
that
they
he
were
thought
seeing.
he had pillow fists.
Yeah. In his last fight, I think his guy was almost dead, and he couldn't finish him. They gave him an extra minute in the round. He couldn't finish him.
Yeah, he should have. I mean, the problem is that he has a massive hometown following, and we know that he's not, the apex of the division's skill. He's certainly above the domestic scene, and probably above or at least equal with the international scene. But there's some people at the top end of that division that would ruin him. So it looked like the plan was to get this hometown following, get the draw, and put on an Eddie Hearn special pay-per-view event against Lee Selby. But the problem is now Selby's signing with Heyman and things like that. It might scupper that significantly. And if that were the case, then Warrington might be left waiting for a dance partner.
Well, and Lee Selby is a lot better than Josh Warrington.
Yeah. Pains me to admit, but that's true. But I thought that the plan was that they were going to build Warrington as this, because he's got such a big following, and he's suddenly found his power, it would seem, on paper at least, and that they could sell it to be a sort of domestic rivalry, A versus B, rather than risk Selby against somebody who's actually really good at the division. So it could have been a quite safe, lucrative fight. But with Heyman involved, I don't know if that'll be the route that they take.
Have both his knockouts been recent?
I think of his last 4, he's had 3 by stoppage.
Right. All of his stoppages have come in the last 2 years. Before that, he literally had 0. Warrington's a good fighter, and he's a likable guy too. Unlike
What
Lee
do you
Selby.
think about that? At any rate, with Heyman coming in, do you think Heyman would permit that to take place, or does he want to save Heyman for his Santa Cruz's?
If I'm Heyman, I let that happen. One, because that's a big payday for Selby if they do this in Leeds or Wales, wherever they want to do it. Yeah. It's a big payday and very little risk. I don't think Selby loses more than 3 rounds in that fight. The other thing is, if Frampton's agreement with Heyman, which we've only heard about, is true, he's going to get dates, I think 1 date a year in Belfast, or in the UK, essentially, to fight wherever he wants. If Selby has the same deal, he will have 1 fight in the UK, and it's obviously got to be something that counts, but isn't too risky. So I think a Warrington fight would be perfect for that.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Yeah.
If Kell Brooks signed with Heyman, I think it'd be okay for him to fight Amir Khan in America. It's a low-risk fight.
My only concern was that from a sort of opportunity cost point of view, that he wouldn't like letting them go, and they're hardly going to host a PBC card branded that way over here, and if they let them fight over here on their own sort of events, they're wasting the opportunity to evolve their own stable and their own product.
I think Heyman understands the importance of them keeping their domestic fans happy.
Yeah,
and he does have an agreement with Eddie Hearn. These guys get along pretty well, and they would do business with each other.
Yeah, no, it went well for Amir Khan, yeah.
All right, Anthony Dirrell is going to headline a card next Sunday. He'll be fighting Marco Antonio Rubio. If you don't remember who Marco Antonio Rubio is, maybe you remember the guy that got hit on the top of the head against Golovkin and didn't get up.
What an intriguing matchup.
Tell me about it. So Rubio's going to be moving up to super middleweight. Last time he fought, he missed weight against Golovkin, and that was last October. So he's been out of the ring almost a year. And he wasn't even in shape when he fought Golovkin. If you look at Rubio, though, he's never really been one of those guys that comes in shape.
Well, he doesn't. He never looks cut up. He doesn't have that kind of physique.
Right.
You know?
This is going to be open and shut, though, right?
Yeah, this is ridiculous.
You think so?
Yeah. And the funny thing is, I don't even think it's going to get a stoppage. I think it's just going to be like...
It's just be a long, 12-0 out.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree.
It's going to be long, drawn-out, pointless fight. That is a foregone conclusion. Or it will be, like when Rubio fought Lemieux. And who knows?
No, because Dirrell's already lost.
I just wanted to bring up that Lemieux was beat by.
What's so funny about that? I'm over here trying my best to sell that fight, and you're over here mocking it.
Yeah, I know. I know.
Like, I'm trying to get people to buy it, and you want to just say that Lemieux's been knocked out by a guy that is...
No, but Lemieux did very good in that fight. There was a whole set of circumstances, and he's a completely different fighter. He really is. Since that fight, he really is. He's still gonna get his ass kicked, but Golovkin could finish him probably within a round if he needed to. Like if Golovkin was only gonna get paid if he finished him in a round.
When was the last time Golovkin finished somebody in a round?
I'm saying, do you hear what I said?
He deliberately extends his fights. Like,
I'm telling you,
he's there looking at the clock like, shit, I've only done 2 rounds. I better let him hit me a bit. It's going to get boring. Like, he targets drawing his fights out a bit.
Yeah. If he was only going to get his purse if he had to finish the fight in 1 round against Lemieux, he'd be able to do it.
I feel that he would be able to do that, yeah.
I don't know. I don't think that's in his nature. I think Golovkin likes to box.
Yeah. He's in the Anthony Joshua parallel though, where they're just dying to find a decent boxing sparring partner, and they keep accidentally knocking everyone out.
Well, Joshua's got a legitimate problem, and that is that people aren't exactly his size. They aren't exactly built like him. Like, there's no heavyweight that looks like Joshua except for Vladimir Klitschko.
Yeah, right.
Who will beat Joshua? Right, Simon?
I don't know.
Right.
I suspect so.
Now?
If put it this way, if anyone were to be a credible shot against Vlad, it's AJ.
You don't hold that. You don't hold Fury, no?
No,
I do.
Yeah,
Fury's going to be tricky.
That's why I'm asking. So, because I know Angela would say Fury's going to give him a tougher shot, right?
Well, right now, yeah. I just can't bet on Joshua right now. Like, I love him, but really, what do I know?
Just,
Here's what I know, though. Jamie McDonnell is going to do his rematch on the undercard of that fight against Tomoki Kameda. So, guys, last time around, you guys both took Kameda.
Yeah.
And I told you McDonnell. I told you to bet your money. And I don't care what I said during the fight. I was right about that. Okay. So now they're fighting a rematch. You guys want to call it?
Who's judging it?
It's in Texas. Is that a good enough answer for you?
Yeah.
No, I'm going to stick with
Lawrence
Kameda
Cole and the
again.
3 Blind Mice.
I thought he'd win the first one, and in my opinion, he did. The record disagrees with me, but I'm going to pick him again.
Okay, Jason.
Yeah, I'll stick with it too.
All right, guys.
What about you?
Let's talk about the fight first before we get
Trying to
my
get yourself
pick.
off the hook. Where's your pick?
I have a pick, but let me talk about the fight first. We got to sell it. Kameda's power was completely overrated going into the first fight. It was completely built in the eyes of most American viewers off of a left hook to the body that he landed in a fight that he was probably losing. Then he goes off and almost loses to this guy, and then he predictably loses to Jamie McDonnell. So the question going into this one, predictably, I predicted it, right? That's the definition of predictably. Did you predict it?
Picked it. You didn't even believe it. You scored it like 116, 112 for Kameda.
No, I didn't.
Yes, you did.
It was 119, 108. No, I'm kidding.
So it's not predictably, is it?
No. I told you he would win.
Yeah, that was your pick, but you know, you can't pick your nose.
I told you bet McDonnell, and you were like, no. I'm like, bet McDonnell. So then you went and told people.
I was correct though. If the judges were sane,
you were correct in that you trust me. That's how you were correct. Now the judges were sane because after that fight, it wasn't like you were like, oh my god, this is a robbery. This is the worst decision I've seen since Bradley Pacquiao. No, you were like, okay, McDonnell. Maybe I was looking at it from a different angle because McDonnell did seem to keep it at least close. A lot of swing rounds, blah, blah, blah.
Right.
That's true.
But this time around, McDonnell knows what to expect from Kameda. Kameda isn't going to drop him because McDonnell's already felt the power. He's like, I have nothing to fear here. You can't hurt me. The thing that really killed Kameda in the first fight was complacency. I think he scored that knockdown and got complacent knowing that he could hurt him. And didn't keep fighting hungry, which McDonnell did, and that's how McDonnell pulled it out in the end.
No, that makes sense. You know, a lot of times when somebody puts somebody down early, you see it all the time. You know, they think they got the edge, and they're just gonna stalk and walk around looking for one punch the whole rest of the night because they know they got that power, and then it kind of changes their game plan in a way mentally that just leaves them open to being outboxed. You know,
in the business we call that the Provodnikov.
All right, so
what's your pick then? Come on.
Here's the pick. They're fighting in Texas.
Yep.
Kameda's gonna win, but you yourself will know that McDonnell won. Kameda will take the belt home. McDonnell will win the fight.
You think the opposite then of what happened the first time around?
Yeah. Because the judges are going to know. They got confused last time. They was like, which guy looks like he speaks Spanish here? Oh, McDonnell. And then after the fight, they're like, wait a second. This guy doesn't know English or Chinese. He's speaking Spanish. We made a mistake. No, Kameda's going to take this one.
You think they're going to even it out? We get a third fight.
Yeah, actually, if you like to bet draw. This one has a high chance of going to a draw. They're pretty much matched, like, in every category. Except McDonnell has more will to win. He's got that Bradley in him.
And
his brother's going to be on the undercard, too. Daiki Kameda. Now, if you don't know who Daiki Kameda is the reason why the Kamedas fight in America. He got the whole family, their whole promotional company, banned from Japan. How did he do that? Well, Daiki got into he was an IBF title holder, and he fought. And by the way, the Kameda family, just read him up on Wikipedia. Quite controversial, but anyway, Daiki was It was like this unification fight for the WBA and IBF title. His opponent doesn't make weight, then he loses. Kameda does, and so in that situation, both bouts become vacant, right? Not the case. The IBF is like, no, Kameda, you lost, but here, you keep the title. Remember, this is the same company that or sanctioning body that let Lamont Peterson have the belt after
the failed drug test.
Yeah, usually you get stripped for that one. Nope, they're like, no, you won the fight, so keep it. So, Kameda kept the belt. The Japan Boxing Commission was like, this is not cool, WBA or IBF, whatever, which one you are. So, Kameda, get out of here. And so the Kamedas fight in America now with Al Heyman. So Austin Trout is going to headline PBC on Fox, their debut show, which is Tuesday against Joey Hernandez. And that's a fight that if Trout is Trout will easily win.
Trout's headlining, huh?
He is.
A Tuesday night, sort of 9 o'clock special.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Thanks, Simon. Thanks for clearing that up.
I just mean it's not like with all the prestige of air.
No, exactly. That's why I was sitting here confused. So.
Yeah, see, I left that out because I wanted to leave things open. You know, like people like, oh, Austin Trout's back Saturday night. No, it's Tuesday.
No, it's Tuesday at 9 o'clock
on Fox Sports 1. You'll have to Google that one.
You'll be putting your kids to bed.
But no, it's good. It's good that there's that sort of.
And then Trout can put you to bed.
Yeah, it's more.
I'm just kidding.
Casual.
I'm just kidding. I like Trout.
Like the
Yeah, we
programming
could-
coming in, because I think that we've been in a sort of situation where boxing has been limited to only headline Saturday night blowouts, but because there aren't the available
Blowouts? What is
candidates
this,
to always
HBO?
put on blowouts, they always end up putting on kind of pedestrian matchups to fill the slots sometimes. So it's nice that we're seeing some of those more pedestrian matchups moving to the more pedestrian time slots, and if they can, I don't know, help forge a better situation where in the future the Saturday night cards are kind of the big events and the weekday cards. There's that way I think people's expectations are managed, and no one goes into this thinking that this is going to be something exceptional or something it's not. It's just some fun boxing. And I
No,
think that if we
it's
can get
really
people to
perfect.
understand that, then that's good, because at the minute, any boxing that's not, like, doesn't resemble Rocky is awful in the public, like, viewpoint. So if
Well,
people can say, that was pretty fun boxing.
especially here in America, where we're just so used to like almost only having boxing exclusively on, quote unquote, good boxing exclusively on Saturdays, right? It's
Yeah.
just this whole new breakout, which is just perfect for the sport. It's this Al Heyman creating an American domestic scene.
And this is
Mm.
exactly what
That's
this fight is.
That's what this fight is.
And it's a great fight. Like, you're going to look at Joey Hernandez and say, oh, I've never heard of this guy, and just write this fight off. But that's going to be kind of sucky for you. He's lost 2 of his last 3, but look at the names he's lost to. He lost a unanimous decision to Cornelius Bundridge, who holds a title at super welterweight.
Super old weight division. I mean, well,
That one too. Bundridge versus Mosley. Let's do that.
there we go. Now we're talking.
Combined age of 100, and then
Yeah.
Julian Williams beat him in his last fight.
So
And
that's
Williams is
loss.
coming up on he'll be on one of these cards in the coming weeks, actually. So it's a good fight. And then the undercard is going to be Jorge Lara versus Jesus Rojas, who Lara is one of the super bantamweight prospects. He's 24. He's fought once here in America, and that was on the Thurman Guerrero. He was on the very first PBC card.
Well,
And so this guy might get Frampton. He might actually, you know what? Is he a super? It says he's a super bantamweight for the card, but I wouldn't be shocked if he was going to be a featherweight. The whole point is it's a good card. And then Tuesday night also, I believe it is the return of Zab Judah. Ooh, him and Mosley should fight. Doesn't that one make sense?
I think we're gonna have might have some weight issues though, right?
No.
Where's Zab fighting at?
He's
like,
I don't know.
Welterweight for life, right? I mean, he's.
I didn't even look at that. I just wrote Zab Judah's name down in crayon.
Yeah. And then hung it up on your fridge. And
Yeah.
You're like, A plus. Look, Mom.
I drew a picture of him pointing at me, telling me he's okay.
I drew a picture of him and his team being locked in a janitor's closet under the Barclay Center for 6 hours.
It says here super lightweight, so it's probably somewhere around welterweight. I highly doubt he's gonna do 140.
Yeah, exactly.
Last time we saw him, he was at 147. All right. What about some news from this week? Well, some American domestic news. John Thompson, Boxino winner in the super welterweight division, he is gonna face Liam Smith. So if you didn't remember, Michel Soro was supposed to fight Liam Smith, but Michel Soro will beat Liam Smith. So they apparently couldn't pay Soro the money he wanted, and they've gotten John Thompson, who apparently will do it for free, I guess. It is for a
title, right?
Yeah, it's for the WBO title.
He needs
and
as
Soro
much
getting a
exposure.
vacant, Soro picking up a vacant title shot makes sense, and that's why it couldn't happen. They had to give it to someone more obscure.
Right, and the problem, though, is that Thompson's
got spoiler written all over him, right?
It depends. Like, if you're a British person, you might favor Liam Smith here.
Okay.
But for an outsider, I don't think Liam Smith is winning this one.
No.
What do you think, Simon? British person?
It's a tough one to call. I don't I don't necessarily think that Liam Smith's exceptional, but I don't think that he's poor enough to struggle in this fight. So I think they're probably fairly evenly matched, and I don't know where they're sort of placed sensibly on BoxRec, but I'd imagine they're both in the high teens, low 20s.
Well, Thompson's 26.
Yeah.
Liam Smith is 6.
No, he isn't.
No, he's not. He's not. He's not.
What's he rated at? I'm not near a computer. I can't check anything. So
hang on. I'm going through the pages. I don't see him. I'm on page 8. I haven't found him yet.
He's on page 8 and he has it set to 50 per page.
No, he's 31.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I thought he'd be a little bit higher down. So yeah,
just
above
not Carson Jones.
Off, then. 26 and 31.
No, they're not too far apart.
Makes sense that they're challenging for a title. But yeah, I think it'll be a close one. Probably be quite a fun fight as well. I'd want Smith to lose, to be honest.
I have big expectations for Thompson. Go ahead. Sorry, I didn't mean to jump in there. Why do you want him to lose?
He's not a very likable guy.
Oh, okay.
Why is he not likable?
Why did he not stop a robbery? Did he not take a machete to the
leg?
leg?
What horrible things could he have possibly done? Did he beat up a group of gay dudes?
That's exactly what he did, and you know that. He went to a gay nightclub and beat up the gays who were at the gay nightclub.
Oh.
So.
Oh.
I think
you got Callum Smith there trying to look, I got a distance. I'm quite talented and good.
I have a future.
I'm just connected to you, who embarrassed me both inside and outside the ring.
And they're blood relatives.
Yeah.
Oh, well. It's okay. This isn't a winnable fight for Smith. It'd be a big upset if he won, I think.
I don't think it'd be a big upset. I've just openly admitted to disliking the guy, but I think I'm giving him more of a chance than you are.
Yeah, because you're British.
What? That doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, you're being loyal right now.
Loyal? I prefer it if he does lose, but it's not going to be amazingly unexpected if he wins.
No, I think. Would it be an upset on paper? What are the betting lines on this? I can imagine it even being an upset.
I'm looking right now.
I think Liam will probably be the favourite come fight night just because
he's
more famous.
Oh, okay. Yeah, because the money will come in on late.
Yeah, exactly, right. Yeah.
There's no lineup right now.
Yeah, no. But Thompson's a pretty unknown commodity here in the U.S. still. He really is. He's not a known commodity, so I could even see
silly. You might be able to earn a bit on that one.
Yeah, I was gonna say he might be. I
would say the line between Liam Smith and John Thompson is pretty similar to the Mayweather-Berto line.
No, get out of here.
Stop it.
Okay, fine. All right, next.
Golovkin Lemieux.
Next bit of news. That's actually a real interesting question. Gotta halt everything right now. I need to find out the betting line between Golovkin and Lemieux. Which one is closer, that one or Mayweather-Berto? So what do you guys think?
Of course,
Golovkin's closer.
Yeah, of course. Golovkin Lemieux is probably like 1-7 or something.
Now, I don't know how to calculate the 1-7 odds, but I just know that Mayweather is minus 4,100 only, and Gennady Golovkin is minus 1,400.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Shannon Briggs has minus 4,100 odds, too, for his fight this coming weekend against Michael Marone.
I saw people mentioning that Michael Marone is top 300 heavyweight. Were they saying that sarcastically to mock it, or because that's a legitimate accolade that they should be pleased with?
It's the fact that it's tough to tell. It tells the whole story here. You guys want to hear something funny? I know we're totally off topic, but so I'm looking at the odds, and there are odds on this website for fights that haven't been signed, but if they were, here's the odds.
Yep. Okay.
So the odds between a potential David Haye and Tyson Fury fight. Guess the odds. Who's the favorite and by how much?
by, I don't know your crazy lines. Let's say that he's negative 400.
Jason?
I have to say Fury negative 200.
Okay, so you're both wrong. Hayes favored minus 250.
Damn.
Not bad then. That's a pretty good guess from me.
No,
isn't
that
it?
was a very good guess. Yeah.
And the reason I bet that way, or guessed that way, is because I bet that those odds were calculated from years back when they had their fight signed and David Hay was still
They just
known,
left it up?
And
It's horrible.
I think that they've never adjusted them since, yeah.
Oh, okay, that makes sense. All right.
Like,
And so if that fight got signed and someone was offering those odds, you'd eat them. Like, you'd just immediately, if you had Fury as an underdog in that fight in this day and age, you'd just bet on that immediately, remortgage your house.
what would you think the line would be for Frankie Gavin versus Sam Eggington?
Gavin and Eggington. I'm going to say Gavin negative 50. No, negative 100.
You're pretty good at this, Simon, or you're looking at the website because you know what website I use.
I'm not next to any. I've just said I can't look anything up currently.
It's minus 104 for Gavin.
Oh yes, I'm sat with the phone to my face and nothing.
All right, one more. Who's got the wider line, Stevenson Carpensi or Joshua Cornish?
Joshua Cornish.
Stevenson, Karpinski.
No.
Yeah, it's Stevenson and Carpensi.
Yeah.
How? How is that possible?
Well, I don't know how this website decides, but I know that they're both minus 4,100. But for the other guy, if you bet Carpensi, it's plus 250. No, I said that wrong. 2,500.
Yeah.
And Cornish is 1,800. Got to work on my numbers.
Interesting.
All right, so Adrian Broner is going to be fighting Khabib Alekvirdiyev for the WBA certificate of good
Authenticity.
super weights.
Certificate of completion of a fight.
Yeah, exactly. Look, guys, if you out there is getting upset about this fight and wondering why the heck Adrian Broner and Khabib Alekvirdiyev are fighting for a title despite both coming off of losses, your name is probably Dan Raphael. And you just got to remember that the WBA has something like 60 plus titles spread across boxing through all weight classes, including some that they've made up. So it's not out of the ordinary for them to award titles to anybody who can bring in a payday, because that's what the WBA is all about. Their titles are useless. They're meaningless. One way to think about it is the WBAs are like the Olympics. They have a gold, silver, and bronze title. Their super titles like a gold, and they sometimes give it out. Sometimes it's given out in the right situations, like Mayweather has the WBA super title at super welterweight, which he got from beating Canelo. Fair enough. He is the lineal champion in that division. And then you have the WBA super, which was given out to the winner of Santa Cruz Mares. What the whole thing points to is that they're useless, so there's no point in getting upset about this, and just be happy that we have a good fight. Broner's evenly matched with somebody who's just as skilled as him, not as athletic, but he is just as skilled as him. What do you guys think of this fight?
I don't know enough about Alekvirdiyev. What kind of style does he bring? Like, how would you describe his style?
He boxes.
So he's just a boxer, straight up. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, he's okay. He's a boxer. He could be a little rough and gritty if he needs to, but he doesn't often. He just boxes and ineffectively. He's one of those guys that's like got maybe 1.5 game plans, and that's it.
Okay.
Tim Bradley.
Bradley's a little more wild than Alekvirdiyev.
You mean reckless?
Sure, that sounds better actually.
That fits Bradley better.
So, yeah, that's it's a good fight. I think Broner, we need to see him now tested properly.
Yeah, I think the fight. Yeah, it's a fine fight for him. Exactly.
The Porter fight was too much.
For Porter fight too much, Paulie too little. You know what I mean? Like, this seems kind of more middle of the road.
Yeah, and I think Broner's going to be fighting at official 140 weight, which is good. We need to see Broner consistently fight in a division. He's been all over the place.
I can't imagine he's going to make weight. I'm sorry, I'm going to say it right now. I don't. When is the fight signed for? How long does he have?
October.
I
It's a
suppose he
little over
could.
6 weeks.
Yeah, I suppose he could, but don't be surprised if you see a Broner that looks like Skeletor on the scales.
Maybe. Or maybe it's time for like 141 or something like that.
That's what I'm
The
gonna.
point
That's what
is,
I'm saying.
as long as both guys make weight in whatever weight that is, it's going to be a good fight. I think Alec Verde is going to test Broner. He's going to be tricky for him. And I think Broner's obviously going to be the favorite here, but not by much. And if Broner loses, this is the end for him.
No, no way.
Well,
The
he'll
end of
drop
him
off
being
as an
taken
attraction.
seriously.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I mean,
I don't know. He's
we're
got
gonna watch
so
Broner
many
forever.
fans. I know. That's what I'm thinking. Broner's gonna be Berto. He's gonna be fighting Crawford in
Right.
10 years. You know what I'm saying? Like,
But I mean, the end of Broner as a legitimate contender in his division.
yes,
Because
certainly. I'm just saying. I don't think he's going anywhere from the boxing spotlight anytime soon.
No, it's all
Yeah.
he knows. He's definitely going to be hanging around forever. But I
Yeah.
think that
Zab Judah's still
a lot-
hanging around.
a loss of this
That's what I'm
caliber
saying.
would definitely mark the end of his days as a top tier attraction.
Yeah.
Right. And Broner, for the Porter fight, at least he wasn't outclassed. He didn't like.
No,
He,
not at all.
Who did worse, Mares or Broner?
I'd say Mars.
Broner.
Well, in
there you
Broner's
go.
defense, he scored a knockdown.
Broner should have had that fight though.
Why do you
Yeah.
say that? Since
'Cause
when are you
Brooke
not a
could do
Sean
it.
Porter fan?
Yeah, I just think the limits that he had against Brooke, and then the trouble he had with Bonet while he was in, all the signs,
okay.
all the signs pointed to Broner being able to do a number on him, and I think he let himself down.
Yeah, so this is more of a criticism on Porter than it is on Broner.
No.
Yeah.
No.
What about this fight, guys? Who do you think is the favorite in a Broner versus Berto fight?
Sorry.
Oh, stop it, Broner.
Broner versus Berto, you think Broner's the favorite?
Yes. Versus Andre Berto.
Yeah.
You're fucking with me.
Are you sure?
You're fucking with me, and I don't like it. What do you mean, am I sure?
Simon, what do you think?
Has his stock dropped that much?
Well, let's ask Simon. Simon?
Berto is the favourite.
No. Shut the. I'm disconnecting the call.
I think that's even money fight. I don't know who
What?
wins.
What?
Yeah.
Wow, you guys are.
I like
insane.
the
You guys are
disbelief.
insane.
Look, Jason.
You guys
Just
are insane.
listen.
Holy
Listen.
crap!
This is
Oh
what
my
happens. They both show each other their shoulder roll. They both jab and miss, and then they clinch. This fight, you would not be able to tell who the winner would be.
You guys.
They
are
both
insane.
try to throw uppercuts a lot. They're very similar. Broner just is a lot more mobile than Berto. Come on, Jason.
No.
Now you want to
No,
see
no
that
way.
fight now.
No, I don't.
Liar.
I don't want to see any
Liar.
fight with Berto in it.
All right. So, Andre Ward, we love you, but it's time for you to decide
Do
who
something.
in the world you're like. Are you gonna fight on the Canelo and Cotto undercard or not?
Does he have that? Is that really the decision in his hands at this point?
Yeah. He's came out and said I'm deciding this week whether I'll fight on that card or not. And I don't care who you fight. You can fight the loser of Rubio Dirrell if you want.
Seriously,
We just like watching you.
man, he likes to take his time making decisions. Gotta let the God channel through.
Do you guys mind if Ward takes another warm-up fight on the undercard? And
Yes.
by warm-up fight, I mean like a soft touch, tune-up fight, whatever.
Well, part of the problem for Ward is like everything's a tune-up fight unless he moves up or down a division because he's gone through his
Unless he
entire
fights
division.
Vladimir Klitschko.
Because he's gone through his division. You know what I mean? So, like, what other,
What if Andre Ward has been waiting at super middleweight for like the new guys to come up?
Well,
Is that so bad?
Well, like DeGale.
Yeah.
Right. Is it so bad? No, it's what's been happening. It's just, and you saw what it did for his career, so I'd say some would say it was pretty bad because
He's still making money though, so
fans turned on him. He's the butt of all commentating jokes.
Yeah, you either then lose or get declared that you're in a weak division because you keep undoing all of these up-and-coming kids.
Yeah.
You're next, Golovkin.
I don't know that the fans will turn on Golovkin so quickly.
You don't think so? You don't think
Well,
that?
Actually, the other thing
People
is
are already saying he's in a weak division.
Yeah. Have you not been on the internet lately? Like people have already turned on Golovkin. The amount of hate that we've seen for Golovkin in the past month has been way more than we've ever seen for him.
Yeah.
Period.
It has. Yeah. Well, remember I messaged you a while ago saying that exact thing.
Yeah.
But because it was completely out of control. It was ravenously out of control for a moment there.
And this is what happens. People are preparing themselves up for the fall.
Well, the thing that I was going to say about Golovkin, though, about people hating on him, is if he ever took 2 years off from the ring, he'd be almost out of fighting age at that point. You know what I mean? Like, he's an older guy too. Well,
fighting age to who? Like to Mosley? Because he'd be fine.
He'd do well against Mosley 2 years from now, sure. Do you want to use Mosley as your pace? This
is the Mosley themed podcast. Last topic,
Mosley
guys.
Measuring stick.
All right, so time to wrap up. That will be that for this week's episode. We'll be back. And one announcement. I made a calendar this week. It's a calendar that you can download from our website, SundayPuncher.com. And I think you could just type SundayPuncher.com/calendar. And it'll sync with your phone or your desktop calendar. And all fights, especially the ones that are televised, will pop up on your phone and let you know when they're coming, how to watch them, where to discuss them, and all that stuff. Also, you can subscribe to us on iTunes. You can send us emails, podcast@SundayPuncher.com. And that's it for this week.